Good afternoon, Scotland. I'm dressed in a dhoti. Don't worry. I'm not going to be dancing lungi dance here. This is typical of Tamil culture. I represent a 5,000-year-old Indian Tamil culture, rich in its tradition of honor and cultural resilience. I want to start by saying thanks to Rashmi ji and specifically to Kumar Rakesh ji and the entire group from Delhi for having called me for this Viksit Bharat conclave in Edinburgh. I want to also start by thanking Scotland. In 2023, elephants killed about 500 people in Africa, but the tiny mosquito and malaria killed 569,000 people. Well, the fact that Anopheles female mosquito carries the malarial parasite was first discovered in India, more specifically in Chennai, by the great Sir Ronald Ross. And where was he from? Well, he's from a place called Dingwall, which is 168 miles from Edinburgh as I speak to you. Also interesting that the first Nobel Prize in Medicine given to India was given to Sir Ronald Ross in 1902. So we go back a long way, Scotland and India. Also, I want to thank a person called Sir Thomas Fullerton, who was born in Patna. He came back to Scotland, and here in a place called Ayrshire, which is probably about 50 to 100 miles from here, he set up a little town which he called Patna. I will have you know that this is the seat of ancient learning and was also the seat of government of the great King Ashoka. After 200 plus years of total darkness, in which our national GDP got demolished from 30% of the world in 1700 to a mere 2% of the world, thanks to one little company in London with shuttered windows, one company called the East India Company, we have now started growing. This is the new resurgent, resilient India. From 1947 onwards, we've been on the upswing, and yes, from 2014, there has been a noticeable upswing. It is said that a bunch of lambs led by a lion will overcome a bunch of lions led by a lamb. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to say that India is now being engineered and powered on by a true lion, our own Narendra Modi ji. Talking about healthcare, my topic, a word in English called flossy, nosy, nihilipilification. I know I'm sounding like my much more illustrious compatriot, Sir Shashi Tharoor. But let me tell you, flossy means reducing or estimating things to be worthless. This was done to India. When? During the COVID dark period, India requested Pfizer to supply us vaccines. Of course, Pfizer considered us worthless and gave us a ridiculously, absurdly high price. What did India do? We manufactured our own vaccines. We came up with Covishield and Covax, and not only did we give 2 billion doses to our own fellow countrymen completely free, we also exported 300 million doses to our friends in less powerful circumstances like countries in Africa and South Africa. This is actually the principle of an evolved country called Viksit Bharat. Whilst more and more countries are making 5-year plans and 10-year plans, in India there's a 100-year plan looking at where we will be 100 years from independence in 2047. This is the underlying principle of Viksit Bharat. Let me swiftly move on to tell you guys that the most exciting, most comprehensive healthcare insurance in the world is our own Ayushman Bharat. Here we have covered 12 crore, that is 120 million families, and 500 million Indians, mostly below the poverty line. That's right. And as an owner of a private hospital group, I can tell you that all the private hospitals also get together in looking after these patients who are below the poverty line. This is again a true principle of Vaidya Narayano Hari, which means the healer is considered to be God. Let me move on from there to tell you about cataract surgeries. In the United Kingdom, you guys do about 400,000 cataract surgeries in the NHS every year. That's the figure for 24-25, 409,000. China, which is such a huge country, they do 3.2 million cataract surgeries. The US does 3.5 million. And India does, eat your heart out, 8.5 million cataract surgeries. That's not all, ladies and gentlemen, that's not all. The average cost of a cataract surgery in the UK is about 2,000 GBP, 2,000 pounds. How much is it in India? Just 150 pounds on an average. This is the massive hiatus that's happening in terms of pricing itself. India is truly the pharmacy of the world. Of every 5 prescriptions written in the United Kingdom, 4 are made of generic medicines which are manufactured in India. 1/3 of all the NHS prescriptions come from India. That is the kind of huge impact that the Indian pharmaceutical industry has on the entire world. I'm going to talk something else to you now. There are 5 million toilets in Scotland. Yeah, I'm talking toilets. Between 2019 and 2023, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, in the so-called Viksit Bharat Abhiyan program, came up with 110 million toilets across the country, so that open air defecation is now relegated to the volumes of past history. We are no longer a country of open air defecation. Why should that interest me as a healthcare expert? Oh, it's very important. Between 2000 and 2014, 1 million, nearly 1 million Indians died of snake bite, about 70,000 every year. And most of these snake bites happened when villagers, especially women, walked away into the fields to practice open air defecation. That has now become a thing of the past, and the field snake bite has dropped sharply, and the death from snake bite is now down to just a few thousands, no longer the massive sum it was earlier. This is the impact that the Viksit Bharat program has had on the health of our country. Atithi Devo Bhava. This means the guest in your home is like God. We are a country that is proud of her hospitality. And I would like to welcome a lot of you to participate in medical tourism. From a measly $50 million 10 or 15 years ago, we have now grown into a $9 billion industry. This would not have been possible without the efficient doctors, low prices, and tremendous hospitality that India has to offer. So where did we get our good doctors from? Are these guys really well trained? Can they communicate with you in good English? Friends, let me tell you, we have a massive Back to India program. After working 4 to 5 years in the NHS, I returned home happily. And like me, thousands and thousands of doctors have also come home to serve their own people, their villages, their states, and their country. In the Valmiki Ramayana, there is a beautiful part where after the killing of Ravana, Lakshmana describes the natural beauty of Sri Lanka and tells Rama, why don't we, hang out here for a few more days and relax and enjoy, and then we can return now that you have taken back your wife and you have killed Ravana. And in 4 words, Lord Rama sends Lakshmana to pack his bags and come. And these are the 4 magical words, friends. Janani Janmabhumisya Swargadavi Gariyasi, which means my mother and my motherland are far more important to me than the greatest heavens up there. And so also many of us have got this Back to India program so that you have the best of doctors available. So what makes Indian doctors so good? As a healthcare professional, let's quickly take you back to Malcolm Gladwell's concept of outliers. When you do anything, 10,000 hours, you become an outlier. The average Indian doctor works about 20 hours more every week and about 1,000 to 1,500 hours more every year compared to his UK or his USA counterpart. Multiply that, and within 5-6 years after graduation, most of our doctors become outliers. So you have the outlier doctors with a very, very hospital background waiting for you to come and get the best of healthcare from India. This healthcare has been extended not only to our country but to a large number of countries. I routinely operate on patients from Oman, Dubai, Yemen, and many African countries. This is indeed the principle of Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam, which means one family, one earth, and one future. We truly believe in this. Finally, Adam Smith, in his famous Wealth of Countries, has written about the so-called perfect economic balance. We have this with Scotland. India imports $535 million worth from Scotland, and we export to you about 500 million. Nearly a perfect economic balance. Guys, most of it is Scotch, what we import. Anyway, when we are already situated in this perfect economic balance, it makes sense for our two countries, Scotland and India, to extend the principle of an evolved nation, Viksit Bharat, to get together and to keep moving forward. Let me borrow a slogan from one of your most famous trade advertisements, namely Johnny Walker's, namely, keep walking. Yes, my dear friends, that is truly what we intend to do. We intend to keep walking into the future, into a bright and glorious future where all nations can come together as one. Many, many thanks. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.